Maria Davis, a goal-setting coach that has been helping students and teachers achieve their goals for years, and I'm here to help you do the same. I believe life isn't about chasing after what you want. It's about accessing the unique power that's already inside of you so you can step into the life of your wildest dreams. If you're looking to do life differently, live a life that's designed just for you, make your dreams a reality, and ditch the hustle, then you're in the right place. My goal for this podcast is to give you tools, resources, and tips to discover who you are at your most authentic level, help you get back in the driver's seat of your life, and send you love and encouragement along the way. Welcome to It's the Audacity for Me. Hello and welcome to It's the Audacity for Me. I'm your host, Ria Davis, and I would love if you'd join me weekly where we'll be discussing all things related to living a more balanced and natural life. If you're looking to break free from what you've always done and live a life more in tune with the balance of nature, then you're in the right place. Let's get started with this week's episode. Hello and welcome back to It's the Audacity for Me. I am your host, Ria Davis, and this week we are talking all about technology and how to take a tech break and how to know if a technology break is right for you. So we'll start by talking about some of the impacts that technology has on our lives, both positive and negative. And then we'll talk about some of the problems that technology brings, and sometimes people can have a technology addiction. So we'll look at how to know if you are addicted to technology, or if you how to know if a tech break is right for you. And then lastly, we are going to talk about some ways that you can take a tech break. So I will share a ton of tools and resources and strategies that you can use to help take control of your technology and stop letting it control you. Let's dive on in. So the title of this episode is Take a Tech Break, have the audacity to take a tech break. And while I definitely think that we could all benefit from a break from technology or just better boundaries with our technology use, technology isn't all bad, right? There are positives and negatives to everything. And I really truly believe that there's nothing really good or bad. Everything is assigned as good or bad based on our perception of it. So technology definitely has had some positive impacts in our life. For example, we're more connected with the people that we love and even just acquaintances. I don't know about you guys, but I have friends on social media that maybe I went to school with in elementary school, or, worked with in college, or, just had these like casual relationships with. I wouldn't even necessarily call them relationships, maybe just acquaintanceships. But I know way more about them because of social media than I would have ever known had we not become friends on social media. And that's because people, put stuff out there. They, put their exciting things like graduating, buying a house, getting a car, having a baby, all those things. They post these things online. And, we get to learn a lot more about people, but on the flip side, that creates a safety concern too, right? So even though we can be more connected, that can be a bad thing if it gets in the wrong hands. We're in something called the information age right now. So information is at our fingertips because of technology. We can access anything in the world at any time. We can create global communities. If I wanted to order something from Thailand, I could have it here in just a few days. This is just amazing when you sit back and think about it. And if you haven't taken time to just sit and really think about all of the things that technology does for us, I really encourage you to just set your timer for 5 minutes and daydream and think about all of the amazing things that technology does for us. We're in 2021. Like I said, we're in the information age, and the fact that we have all this at our disposal, on the internet, we also have very few people in society that lack access to technology. And when I say that, I don't mean, that our population all has the latest technology, but I'm saying technology is a part of everyday life in general society. Think about, self checkout at the grocery store, or how we pay for things using our cell phones, or even just chip cards. That's technology. Excuse me. We are so connected to everything and everyone at all times. And while this is a positive thing because we have so much at our fingertips, it also can be a negative because we live in a culture that is obsessed with instant gratification. Because we're so used to having everything right now, when you want to go on a diet, you diet for a day and suddenly you want to have lost 40 pounds. I mean, that's understandable. Who wouldn't want that? But at the same time, that's not how reality works. And technology has this funny habit of distorting reality and creating some situations that aren't that great. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But I want to talk about the more concrete, physical, noticeable impacts of technology and screen time. So I think by now you've probably heard before that technology isn't good for our health, but I'm not sure if everybody or if people just in general are really talking about specifically what happens when we're exposed to so much technology. So, of course, there's your posture, right? People hunched over keyboards or hunched down looking at smartphones. Um, there have been proven eye problems from excessive screen time, an increased risk of obesity and other health conditions. And then there's also the mental health component. Um, there's concerns, or technology can cause concerns related to memory, your processing, your impulse control, and a host of other problems. But then there's also mental health risks specifically for social media, which I'm sure you have probably, heard of some of these problems, right? There's people who are constantly fearing missing out. There's depression, there's anxiety, isolation, loneliness. There's all kinds of problems. And it doesn't help that technology is designed to create an addiction. Um, and whenever something is free, this is something I've heard this several times, but people say, if something is free, it's not really free. You're the thing. You're the commodity. You're the thing. Because that's what technology has allowed advertisers to do, right? The more ad time that you can get, or the more time that you're on an app, the more money that this generates for people. So your attention is what is being traded, because it's free for you. So that's just a little thing to consider, kind of like a little side note. But what I want to do is take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about tech addiction and some of the benefits of setting better boundaries with technology. So, how do you know if a technology break is right for you? Well, first, I think it's important to look at how much technology you're using. Tech addiction is a real thing. And like we talked about just a minute ago, it's designed to be addictive. It's designed to get you addicted to the app, to the likes, to just being on there. And there's a documentary that I watched a while ago. It's on Netflix. It was pretty popular. It's called The Social Dilemma. If you haven't watched it and you are interested in learning more about technology, specifically social media and its impact on society, that is an awesome documentary. I would definitely recommend it. But one thing, and I'm not quoting word for word here, but this was something that really stuck out to me from that documentary, was that when you're on social media, we've all heard of algorithms, like the TikTok algorithm or the Instagram algorithm. And what these algorithms do is they basically analyze you as a person. They analyze your habits. They analyze how long you watch a video for, how long you scroll for, even how long your eyes look at a particular or part of the screen, or how long your, a photo stays on your screen. To make it even creepier, there are technologies like Facebook uses a technology that analyzes the scratches on the phone screen to like match up friends. I don't know too much about it, but I've seen where Facebook is using, like, if somebody takes a photo, um, based on the scratches on the camera lens that it leaves on the photo, they can identify like who you were with based on their photos and things like that. I don't really know 100% how it works. You can definitely Google that, but there's some crazy technology out there, right? Things that you could imagine are really out there. It just blows my mind. So on one hand, this is a great thing, right? You're linking people up, you're connecting people, you're helping to make people's lives easier. But on the flip side, there's that negative impact, the negative health impacts, the negative mental health impacts, which is part of your overall health. But there's just specific concerns with mental health. You have a lot of, especially now that technology is so prevalent, you have, teens and young adults and even children whose brains aren't fully formed yet. And they're trying to develop these executive functioning skills like memory and processing and metacognition and organizing, prioritizing, all of these things. These are developing, and the exposure to technology can impact that development and can negatively impact it. So there's definitely some problems. But I'm sorry, I got a little off track there. Coming back to the algorithm and all of that. So algorithms are designed to show things that are for you. So by analyzing all these patterns in your behaviors, it is figuring out what you would like. So, for example, let's say I enjoy gardening. So when I get on social media, I follow accounts that are about gardening. I like pictures that are about gardening. Maybe I share things that are about gardening. I watch videos. And in between all that, I don't just like gardening. I like cooking and reading and cleaning, and I have different interests, right? So I'm going to look at all those other things too. But the algorithms are designed to pick up on what you look at the most, and again, how long you stay on a certain thing, things like that. And so when this happens, it's designed for a positive reason, to give you things that you enjoy looking at, which also helps on the other side of, getting people to be on the app longer, because they're going to look at things that they enjoy versus things that they don't. But it also isolates you into only you. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So let me explain. You become isolated from people whose opinions differ from your own. So you can see this especially with political views. And what happens is a political polarization. So let's say, and I don't, regardless of whether you're Democrat or Republican, that's not relevant. This is more about, let's say, if I liked videos that were all, on one side, either Democrat or Republican, I'm going to continue to see more from that side. And eventually, and this is what we're seeing now, reality becomes distorted and people become polarized. So they become really far one way or really far another way, because they see reality as all for them. Everyone and everything that they are consuming looks like the population is on the same page as them. And so whenever they encounter someone whose opinion is different, let's say they're on the opposite side of the political spectrum, they genuinely feel like, man, why everyone thinks this way? I don't know why you're not seeing it this way. And that's because that other person has also been kind of isolated in things that are for them. And so they're also looking at the other person like, how are you not seeing what reality is? So That was a really long way of explaining it, so I apologize for my rambling. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that these algorithms that are designed for you, yes, they're great. They're for you. They're things that you like to see, but taking a break from technology is going to help you see things from reality's perspective versus your polarized version of reality. So let's take a quick little break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about some ways that you can set better boundaries with technology and can make technology work for you instead of being a slave to it. See you in a second. All right, so now that we talked about the pros and cons of technology, I want to take a really practical standpoint, take a really practical approach to making technology work for you instead of you working for technology. So, some of the benefits of taking a technology break, it's going to help you be more mindful of your time, more mindful of your space, more present in the moment. And it's also going to help you be more grounded and feel more centered. You will experience increased confidence and self worth because you're not struggling with the constant comparison. And you also just have a better sense of who you are and yourself when you're not constantly being bombarded with other people's images and music and thoughts and ideas and all this stuff. When you can really be centered and clear about who you are, it makes it much easier when you're not constantly being influenced by technology and especially social media. So, while a lot of us think that productivity relies on multitasking, I am here to tell you that it doesn't. Multitasking isn't really helpful for us at all, and that is one thing that taking a technology break helps us to do. It helps us to slow down and really focus on one thing at a time. Think about all the platforms, all the social media platforms, and how often you toggle back and forth between them. It's constantly changing. It's new information. You can refresh, you can go back and forth, right? And all of this back and forth and just constant information overload really impacts our ability to get things done. And even though you might be working on a paper and an Instagram notification goes off and you check it real quick and you come back, that's still multitasking and that's still impacting your productivity. Every time that you get distracted, it takes 20 minutes to refocus your attention. So in just one notification, you've lost 20 minutes. Think about how many notifications you get in a day. Yeah. Think about how much time you've lost to all of those notifications. Your brain cannot toggle back and forth like the screen, like your thumb and the screen can. Your brain does best when it can focus on one thing at a time. So when you set better boundaries with your technology, you're going to be able to be more productive and be more focused because you have that mental clarity and you don't have that chaotic energy that technology brings. So, some things that you can do to really, really help you with your boundaries and your boundaries around technology are setting no tech times. So, what I like to do is I set times that I can be on social media or be on technology, and then times that I am not. And for example, if my kids are playing outside, that is a no tech time. I'm outside, I'm playing with them. If we are eating dinner, that's a no tech time. If I'm driving, that's a no tech time. These are times that no one has their phone out, no one is, on their devices. We are all enjoying each other and enjoying the moment. But then I also do schedule times for technology. So going back to the example of my kids playing outside, I'm not going to be on my phone while my kids are playing outside and I'm enjoying that time with them. However, when we come back in after we eat dinner, while we're getting ready for baths and bedtime, they are probably going to be on their little devices, or I might be on my phone maybe an hour before bedtime scrolling through, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I set aside, I know what times I'm going to be using technology and what times I'm not. And I try to have an idea of that ahead of time because that's way easier than trying to decide in the moment. So, another thing that people have found, research has found, is that reading on paper actually helps our minds process the information more effectively. So, instead of getting your news from an app or, somewhere online, maybe try reading an actual newspaper and holding it with your hands, or reading an actual book instead of reading it on a device. It is a whole different experience, and I personally love just the way a book feels in my hand. So, if you enjoy reading, I definitely recommend having the physical copy. It definitely helps us process that information. Another thing that you can do is to do what I like to call a tech spring cleaning. So, this is where you go through your phone, your laptop, your computer, whatever. You go through your device. I think most of us have phones, so that's what I'm specifically going to be speaking to, but you can do this with anything. Get rid of all the apps that you don't use, the apps that you downloaded just to get a free coupon at a store that you never shopped at. You don't need to have that on your phone. Or, maybe there's an outdated social media app that you don't use anymore, or a couponing app, or whatever it is. Get rid of the apps that you don't use. That's just more notifications to come in. And then during your tech spring cleaning, another thing you want to do is back up all of your photos. It really, really sucks when you break your phone and you lose all your pictures. And I've lost some really precious memories that way. So start backing up your photos regularly. I like to do this at least once every 3 months, like just do a spring cleaning, even though it's not always in the spring, but do like a cleaning of my devices. It just helps me not feel so chaotic when I'm trying to scroll back 4 years ago to find something. It's just much easier. I know some people actually delete their photo, like delete everything every night, like all their messages, all their photos to help with storage and stuff on their phone, and they back everything up, which I'm all for. However, I just get so nervous, like deleting everything because I don't want to be in a situation where I have to look at something and can't pull it up or, whatever the case is. So, back up your photos. For me, I don't delete everything, but I do delete what I don't need. So when my kid had my phone and took 15 pictures of the ceiling fan, I delete those, or multiples, or screenshots that, I've made the recipe or I don't need anymore, whatever. So go through and delete what you don't need. And then the last thing that you're going to do when you're doing your tech cleaning or your tech spring cleaning is to go through your notification settings and turn off everything. Turn off the notifications from your email, your text messages. Now, I do want to put a little caveat. I don't actually turn off my notifications for my text messages. I do turn off my email notifications, pretty much all my notifications except like my banking, like my Maps app, because I need that to alert me like if I'm driving. But very few things do I have my notifications turned on for. And that's because I do not want my phone to be in control of me. I want to be in control of it. But like going back to that 20-minute example, it takes you 20 minutes to refocus. And I'm not going to let some random coupon app from like that I downloaded 3 years ago to save $10 on a pair of shoes. I'm not going to let that app be in control of how much I get done today or steal 20 minutes away from me that I could have been doing something else. I could have been recording this podcast. So turn off all those notifications. And once you do that, the last step in this like spring cleaning process is to stop using social media for 3 to 5 days. Like intentionally stop using it after you've turned off the notifications. This is going to just reset everything for you, and you'll notice that you just forget about it. Like it's not that important, and you'll be so much more focused on the present moment, and you'll just be more mindful. And then after 3 or 5 days, you can go back to it, but do it during those times that you've set aside to go back to it. And you'll notice that you have like a million notifications, especially Facebook. Like I have it for other apps, but Facebook especially, I'll notice like 4,000 notifications, and it's all just about random groups, people I don't really talk to or know or need to know about their updates. Just like all this random stuff, events coming up. And I think about every time I open it, it just blows my mind that had my notifications been on, I would have turned my phone on that many times and opened that app that many times just to see stuff that wasn't even relevant. So just a suggestion, turn off all those notifications and then stop using social media for 3 to 5 days, doing it intentionally. Of course, if you run a business or, you do something with social media that you have to be on there every day, I recommend planning out your posts and still doing that detox, the 3 to 5 days. You can set it up to work automatically when you're not on it. So there's no reason not to take that break. When you're working, so let's say like you've done your spring cleaning, you've done all of that, and you're just trying to maintain at this point, turn on your do not disturb, your airplane mode, turn your notifications off. I just did that. I forgot to do it before I hit record. But turn off those notifications, even the ones that, like phone calls and text messages, even the ones that normally come in, turn those off when you're trying to really focus on one thing. That way you can not be distracted for 20 minutes while you're trying to get back to work. Another thing that you can do is set it up. I know iPhone does this. I'm not sure about Androids. But you can set notifications. You can set like weekly notifications where it monitors your screen time, and you can even set up limits. So I have it set to where I can be on social media no longer than an hour per day, and it'll alert me, and it'll give you the option to like continue using, or, you can like get off of it. But that's kind of neat. At the end of the week, it'll review how much time you were on technology and what you were spending your time on. And it's a real eye-opener if you haven't checked it out already. Again, I don't know about Android, but if you have an iPhone, open it up right now and look at how much time you spend looking at the screen. It might surprise you. All right. Last but not least, my last tip for you, when you are using technology to help prevent eye strain and other concerns with your eyes and your vision, look up, it's called the 20-20-20 rule. For every 20 minutes that you look at a screen, look up and look at something that's 20 feet in the distance and look at it for 20 seconds. And you're going to do this like normally. You can blink and all of that. Don't like stare it down. Just look up, look at something far away. I don't actually have anything that's 20 feet in the distance because I'm in my room right now. So maybe like 10 feet in the distance, I'm looking at the farthest object across the room. And you want to look at it for 20 seconds. And that's just going to help you with eye strain and other issues related to staring at screens. So that is all the tips that I have as far as how to take a tech break and some things that you can do to help with that. But I want to talk about one last thing before we go. Some things that you can do instead of using technology. Right now, if you're listening to this when this episode comes out, we are entering summertime, and it's a great time to get outside. So you can use this intentionally as a time to not only take a break from technology, but replace that tech time with being outside. The open, fresh air stimulates your brain, and so does the change of scenery. So even if you're not taking a full-blown break from all technology, this is still going to help you and help combat some of those impacts from staring at screens and being on technology. Also, sunlight helps to boost your mood and gives you vitamin D. It helps with creativity. Being outside helps with seasonal depression and can help you feel more grounded and centered. Also, being outside restores your focus. So if you are going to take a technology break, I highly recommend pairing it with some more outside time, and you'll really see those benefits of both the outside time and the technology, the break from the technology. So I hope that you have enjoyed today's episode. Please share it with a friend. Take a screenshot of this episode and share it on social media. Let me know that you're listening. And as always, have a beautiful, beautiful day. See you next time. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram at hippiewood.co, or you can check out our website, www.hippiewood.com, HIPPIEWOOD. On our site, you'll find free resources, links to our show, of course, the show notes, blog posts, and our shop where we sell eco-friendly products with sustainable business practices in mind. So we would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. Please leave a rating and review so more people can find the show and so I can hear from you, because I want to hear what you think and any suggestions that you might have. Thanks again. I can't wait to see you soon. Thank you so much for pressing play today. If today's chat inspired the audacity in you, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And be sure to leave a rating and review on iTunes to spread the love and help more people find the show. If you aren't already, be sure to follow me on social media so we can connect. Just choose your preferred platform. My links are all down below. Have a beautiful day, friends.